Welcome to the Zion-mainframe. I am Benjamin Davis. We are not here to present undeniable truths, rather we are here for the discovery of truth. Today's inquiry is creation stories, myths from around the world, and the science. Is there science to back them up? So I guess we'll start off with the monotheistic religions that we know of today, i.e. the Hebrew faith, Judaism, or the Christian faith, or the Islamic faith. So these creation myths, they begin with, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. But the literal translation of this is, in a beginning, Elohim created the Aleph Tau. The Aleph Tau is the alphabet in Hebrew. So if you think of that, is in the beginning, God created the word, the sound, the vibration. Now, I'll take you into other myths around the world and how they all seem to share this commonality to do with sound. We have predating monotheism in the land of Egypt, or the land of Kemet. The god Ptah went into his heart and spoke the world into existence. That's another example of sound creating reality, creating life. Another creation myth. The American Pueblo Indians say the spider sang the world into existence. So again, sound, music, frequency. Another South American mythology, the Aztecs, the god Quetzalcoatl, using a conch shell, blew the conch shell and created all life. The Australian Aboriginals, they say the didgeridoo created all life and was the link to their ancestors, that it connected their people with their ancestors and it connects them to the realm where they'll go when they die. There's another Aboriginal story where the great spirit called Biami manifested and whispered to the sun goddess called Yi. Now wherever Yi shone her light, life sprang up. Now the next creation story, it doesn't depict necessarily the gods or deities speaking the world into existence like the other ones, but this is a Chinese creation depiction whereby two gods, a masculine and a feminine god, they're serpent gods, and they carry in the depiction of them a square and a compass, okay, or a square and a circle as is otherwise known. The serpents have always been depicted to do with consciousness, that you can see in the medical industry uses the entwined serpents around a rod. So the serpent has always been a symbol of knowledge, ascension. But the compass and the square, if you think of the geometric symbols of the circle, the circle represents the heavens above, and the square represents the earth below. So it's as above, so below. This is what this depicts. And it also represents squaring the circle, which is, if you look in all of these ancient architecture, temples, pyramids, etc., you can see the geometry and the mathematic. You can see pi squaring the circle. Something that's also very interesting is the Hebrew letter Het. The symbol of the letter in Hebrew is the symbol for pi. So that's also quite coincidental, perhaps. A lot of these organizations today use the square and the circle as their symbology. Like, for example, the Freemasons use in their symbology the square, the compass, and the circle. Also, there are many old pictures or paintings with these legends such as Copernicus, Pythagoras, Kepler, Newton, showing them depicting the square and the circle or the compass. So now what we've explained with all these creation myths, the commonalities between them all to do with sound, you know. So now if we look into science, does science prove that sound creates and forms life? So in science, we have a science called cymatics. And in cymatics, they have using certain materials, they have proven without a shadow of a doubt that sound shapes the reality that we see. So they have done this by utilizing different materials. And when they play a specific sound frequency, they're able to form shapes and geometry in these materials. So this proves, they have proven without a shadow of doubt that sound shapes us. What we deem as actual matter is essentially atoms. And there's another science experiment in physics, in quantum physics, whereby they used a particle gun to shoot electrons through a wall that had a slot in it. And then there was another wall on the background. And when they shot these electrons through the wall, they expected to see a particle line in the shape of the hole that was in the first wall. And what they got was a wave pattern. So the scientists were baffled about this wave pattern that they're experiencing. So then they repeated the test, as they do in science, and they continued to get the wave patterns all over the wall. So then what they did, they thought, okay, we're going to put a camera. So they put a camera to see if they can record the electrons going through the wall. And the moment they did this test, now they got what they expected. So in the shape of the hole in the wall, they got the pattern to represent that. They discovered that when you observe atoms, they basically collapse into physical matter. So they exist as a waveform until the moment they are being observed, and then they collapse into the physical reality that we call matter. So this essentially proved observation, consciousness, sound creates the material world that we essentially live in. This proves that we shape reality, because essentially what are we made of? We're made of atoms, solar luminescent lights. You know, we are suns. And then when you look into the ancient theologies and you look at like essentially God was the sun. I am the truth and the light. I am that I am. So you essentially create the reality that you live in. So essentially these myths and the science are saying the same thing. Really a myth, a story, the true importance of a story is not necessarily a historical fact. It's the allegory of the story. So that is, what is an allegory? It is the hidden moral meaning of the story. It's the information that's encoded within the story. Okay, so this is what I have found these ancient theologies to represent. They represent hidden astrological and physiological, moralistic, based on natural law, teachings that can live that will live for all eternity, because essentially they are the laws that are built into the reality that we represent, that we are these laws. We are literally these atoms, this light. We are God. You know, I like to link biology and anatomy into that. We are essentially God to 150 trillion cells. You know, depending on the information, the light code frequencies that we feed these cells will either thrive or they will devour us. Our body will become heaven or hell. So if you appreciate the content that I provided, the information, please hit the like button, subscribe to our page. We're going to be doing lots of more future videos, and yeah, drop a comment. Give me your thoughts on whatever you thought about, if you got any more information that I left out, I didn't get out there. So yeah, please drop a comment and I'll try and get back to you when I can. Peace.